What's going on?
The dollar regains lost ground, currently up 0.12%. Looking at dollar yen.
We also have someone else that's on the ticket that it really ought to be on the debate stage because otherwise this is just a candidate forum and not necessarily presidential candidate debate. But the problem with all of this is that the more they wait to make the decision, the harder it will be to compete against the former president, and that's what's going to make this most difficult. More of you are learning the kind of alien that she's saying. They feel good about the way she's doing what she's doing.
All candidates qualified for tonight's GOP debate, and what's more, the party's frontrunner not making an appearance. The former President Donald Trump instead speaking at a Fox News town hall last night. Day one, the border gets closed. Day 1.5, we drill. You know, we drill, baby, drill.
Day 1.5. Sick bastard.
Suggesting he may not have run for re-election if Trump wasn't doing the same. Biden later downplaying those remarks.
1, 2, 3.
AMA's joined us in Washington, D.C. Anne-Marie, does that clean that one up?
Well, we know he is running, and he is, of course, going to be the Democratic nominee. As of now, Jonathan, I mean, things could, I guess, potentially change. It is going to be an interesting year, but, you know, Biden was still keeping company when it comes to the Democratic Party. But he fed into this anxiety that we've seen in poll after poll of American voters who are concerned about his age at this moment. He is the oldest U.S. president in American history, and here is what he was cleaning up. If Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running, but we cannot let him win for the sake of our country. Now, you talk to people in the Biden world, and they say that this isn't really new for Joe Biden. This was the reason why he got into the race in the first place, why he originally wanted to run, because he thought former president's remarks when it came to Charlottesville were abhorrent, and he felt like he had this duty to the country. But of course now, as I said, it's feeding into some of those concerns as we go to this election.
So on the stage tonight, talk to me about how quickly you expect that four to become one.
Well, potentially these four are going to really go for it when it comes to Iowa, New Hampshire, and potentially, Jonathan, some of them will drop out. The Willard point last night. This is more of a candidate forum because the front runners will be missing tonight, and instead he did a 1 hour
See what they're saying. Financial conference, day 2, keeping taglines, and boom, 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 boom.
All that are going to be her on this evening. I mean, just this week, she brought in $250,000 to her super PAC from a Democratic donor, Reed Hoffman. So tonight will be interesting. It's a race for second place.
Amazing. sits down in Washington looking ahead to the fourth GOP debate. With us for a final word, Dan Scully. Dan, we've got to talk about next year.
Good morning, Jake.
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
Nothing.
According to the finance.
No, I said, how are you doing?
Oh, how I'm doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Your ears are not doing well, though, brother.
Yeah, I got different sounds going across my eardrums all day long, you know.
No Lucci this morning.
Where's he at the racetrack? Where'd
I
he
don't
go?
know where he is. I asked him what her name was, and he hasn't responded.
He was kind of
He's not-
hinting towards that, I think, yesterday.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Looking at how this spot, I just want to point out a couple of things that I'm looking at technically in combination with things that are starting to come together. So I am in I put myself yesterday into a little bit of a straddle. It's not truly a straddle because it's 2-1 on this Microsoft. So I had my lean on Microsoft is to the upside. So I'm long some 377 and a halves. And then I am long, that's calls, and it's for this week. And then I'm also long some 367 and a half puts. So one of the things that sticks out to me on a technical level is if I look at Microsoft on a 15-minute time frame, there's a couple of things that stand out. And I don't know how much you or anybody else believes in Wyckoff distribution and the the patterns that this thing throws off. It's interesting when I look at something like Microsoft and the run that it's recently had. So I'm marking on a 15-minute chart this high that dates back to November 29th, and this most recent low down here, which is on Monday. And the 5-day moving average is declining. The 8-day exponential moving average is declining. Microsoft is breaking out of this little range and is indicated to open higher. The question is it going to open here and continue to run, or is it going to fail and pull back? And if it does it set up for something a little lower? If it doesn't, does it come and test these highs? So I think I might be a little early to my trade, but it's an interesting setup. NVIDIA looks also similar. And what's interesting to note about this is that it's all lining up with Thursday and Friday catalyst events. So my question is, does this stuff stay and move? If I look at SPX, there's a big call wall at 40, like right up in here in this 4,600 area. So you got a gap to fill, you got news pending. It could be the start of, another press up higher, but whatever it is, regardless of what your opinion is, you have to recognize that if you trade your opinion, you're early. and you're gonna find out Thursday or Friday. So don't make your mind up today. Let it play out. And if you are playing, manage your trades along the way, bank your profits, roll your strike prices up or down appropriate to whatever you've got going on. And then also on this NVIDIA, it's a very similar looking type of setup. And this is a 15-minute chart as the Microsoft. So you've got to have a little bit of caution. And if you're in the trades and you're making money, that's awesome, but manage your trades. So that's what I'm looking at this morning.
You mentioned Wyckoff. What's that? That's technical analysis, right? Wyckoff?
Yeah, it talks more about, and you can look that up on Investopedia. But basically it talks about how some of the movement of the stocks is akin to going through an area of consolidation and distribution. And then at some point, this upward thrusting move peaks out. And when it does, the question is, for example, on an NVIDIA, will it come back and not only test these lower levels, but are you going to flush out? And as you've been talking about, and this is one of the reasons that it popped up for me, you've been talking a lot about, hey, the Magnificent Seven is what's been kind of holding the entire market up, and a majority of these Magnificent Seven stocks look like, if you compare it to a Wyckoff distribution, they look like that scenario that you and I talk about is if they pull the plug, it could be a more significant drop. So
Gotcha.
they start to overlap. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I say that you start to see similarities that suggest that's a scenario that could happen, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah, I heard. I'm trying to think where Wyckoff. I've seen it somewhere. I definitely heard of Wyckoff. That's been around a while too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not one of those, everybody kind of knows about it and sees it. So you don't have there's nothing is certain, right? However, stocks always go through cycles, right? They go through periods of up, consolidation, down, vice versa. That's normal supply and demand, right? That's normal pricing. But saying this is what's going to happen and this is where we're out is foolhardy. But looking at some of these things and saying, hey, there's a lot of similarities here, and knowing that you've got some of these catalyst events coming up, you should just exercise caution.
Yeah, definitely. That's all you can do is set up. Interesting. To your point, we've seen, as we've been talking about, some distribution from. We talked about how crowded these names were. I just posted the chart of the Magnificent Seven there amongst hedge funds, and you can see they are starting to trim positions there, right? And that's what we've been seeing in the price action. And if that selling starts to accelerate and less buyers, then it could have a bigger effect. So we'll see how, like you said, we'll see how it shakes out here. What's going to be a problem in the overall market? We were discussing all week. You got Gamma, SPX Gamma, that's playing a huge role in the stickiness out there in the price action. So tough to see any real follow through on either side. That we don't get any alleviation from that till December OPEX, which is next week, right? So we got to wait that out probably before we see any real movement. And the index they're tough to handicap now because there's so many moving parts. Even if you get the Magnificent Seven right, they could be rotating into financials and small caps and industrials, like we've been saying. So I think the names are still the route to go. But I'm on your side. I think you got to be tactical here until we get out of this sticky period that we're in. But no big changes on my end. No significant changes on the positioning front, and we probably don't see anything maybe till post December OPEX in regards to that. Yeah. Oh, we got a minute here, right? Snuck up on me.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, Jay. It's gonna happen.
I could use a nice nap. I definitely need a nap at some point. I had an awful sleep. Let me pull this up. There it is.
So let's see if they're going to push this higher. So they opened us at the upper end of the expected move. So if you're long, you should probably be taking care of your positions here.
Perfect. Beat that too. That could drive us nuts. Tomorrow's what? Tomorrow's Thursday? No. Yeah. Tomorrow's
Yes,
Thursday,
sir.
right?
Tomorrow is Thursday.
And look at we got Dow up 150, ES up 21, and that pretty even spread amongst the indexes off the open. There you got gold.
Fresh this.
Yeah, crude seeing some selling again.
762, huh?
Damn. Crude's starting to unravel. Are the energy stocks? I haven't really been following them the last couple of days. Have they started to roll over as well, or not really? Anybody?
Energy, I'm not paying attention to. I mean, not
Yeah,
since
me
that guy came in on XLE, and then like it didn't. I tried to follow that for a little bit, and it didn't look right to me. So I got out of the way, and I haven't really looked back on it.
Oh, the XLE put buy you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring
Yes,
to?
for
Yeah.
March.
Yep.
I haven't forgotten about him, but I haven't really paid attention because oil has just been all over the place, right? All over.
Yeah, I kind of lost track too of it. Selling, I think these are new recent lows here in crude. Getting smashed a little. Yep. Anyway. Banks. No.
After market open, noting the Dixie down at 0.05%.
It's been really tough just to get something going.
Yeah.
Being in the right place at the right time has been very difficult, at least for me. I'm going to take some of these calls off. Just want to see if I can preserve what I got going here. It's basically a wash on those. Let's see if these puts get anything going. $1.82. Yeah, so those fucking took a hit. Bigly.
It looks like some rolling in Citigroup into strength.
Did this NVIDIA decide to sell out? Yeah. So you might get some pullback here. Yesterday was a nice day on all this stuff to the upside. You open up like this, you've got to at least consider taking some profits, managing your positions, trimming size. Banks are still looking strong.
Yeah.
Semiconductors, a little pop, the gap up. Same thing. You get those gap ups. If you gap up into your declining 5-day moving average, you've got to consider profits or rolls. If you don't, you're not managing your trade properly. Oftentimes, you're lucky enough to get that to begin with. Boeing is still moving. Stock is a beast right now.
Well, it's a new and improved Boeing.
Yep. all shiny and new. Costco getting a little dip here. Oh, no, I think it's down.
A little repeat spec action in that Norwegian cruise line. They've been buying that for the past week straight. Well, all the cruise lines pretty much have seen buying, but this one in particular, more recent. Norwegian.
Let's get rid of them. Start over. Painful.
Yeah, looking pretty quiet off the bat.
Yeah, you get a little afterglow, but you got to be careful with that. Well, that was interesting. Amazon, they gave you an open right up on the bigger picture, right to the bigger picture fib, and then just sold that thing off hard. Open at almost 148, and now you're down to 146 and a half. Just letting it shake out. What was that big Sentinel one yesterday? Was big, right? Sears. That thing popped up open nicely this
Oh,
morning.
I had earnings. I think earnings, yeah.
Novia, that one was on the radar. Let's see what this stupid CVNA is doing. Nothing. Gapped it up and then ripped it.
Yeah, a couple of these growth names have decent moves off earnings, huh? But you got to roll the dice into earnings for the bulk of these moves. That's the problem with those. Who the hell wants to do that? Home Depot. Let's see what's going on. Home Depot. That's nothing.
Didn't see much in that Microsoft today. Banks already up. If you weren't in them, NVIDIA was a good fade. AMD a good fade. Good looking fade. Don't know that that's going to shake out. Allegro. Gotta get QCOM on the board here. Let's add this to the list. When is Broadcom? Broadcom is tomorrow after the close.
Avgo, right? Avgo?
Yeah, AVGO.
Yep.
So, I mean, very similar to what I was talking about. You had this kind of this range of consolidation in this 924 to call it 815 range. It consolidated for a decent amount of time, dating back to June. And then you had this thrust up. It's pulling back. Question is, off of earnings, will it do it one more time? You know, they're interesting from a technical standpoint. and the catalyst is either going to confirm or deny. I mean, the NVIDIA is in an interesting place. If you wanted to consider it for long or short, it's a good spot. It's a very good spot. This would be one where you would need to be more dialed into tape on NVIDIA, but a little bit more of a coin toss right here. I think you'll get a little bit of direction from some of the other semis. Broadcom might help you out a little bit. Might.
Looks like they're rolling up some hood weeklies.
Singapore, the navigation eastern extension of the Suez Canal, stopping after a container ship colliding with a bridge, according to Egyptian media.
Crude futures down close to 2%, coming up off the session lows in these latest Suez Canal headlines.
Yeah.
WTI crude down 1.9%.
Crude looking like he wants to test that bottom back in spring.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up XLE. So this has been, ever since you had that put buyer, this consolidative phase, this up and down movement, I have not wanted to participate in. And I stepped out of the way. And how much went to work? It was like $22 million, right? On the
yeah, it was huge money. What was it? March, May,
March
time. Yeah. Oh, March.
Yeah,
March.
If you stop talking, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, by the time you get it out of your mouth, I can go back into my brain and dig it up.
March 15th, 80 puts, $2.29. Let's go. What you got?
Yeah, but it was big money. Big money. He hit it a few times too. It wasn't just once.
But it looks, I mean, every time it's gotten down to this area where it gives you that look like, okay, it's going to finally roll off of the table, it bounces. Yep. It bounces. Yeah. So it's not an easy trade.
It's held up better than crude, actually. Has been the problem, I think.
All right, Momo scanner showing hood and CCL. Hood calls, CCL puts. I hate the guy that started Robinhood. I hate him.
You're a week late on Hood. No, forget that.
Well, I don't like trading it in general. But yeah, you're a week late. But I'm just saying it's showing up on the Momo scanner.
Yeah. GoDaddy, you're about a good 3 weeks late. You got some repeat activity there. That thing keeps ripping. Hidden AI play. If you remember, I found out per my investigative process. TLT June calls. Somebody building a little position in.
Okay, Microsoft not really doing anything. That move was yesterday. All my trouble seems so far away.
So TLT, they're closing December 90 calls. Pretty decent sized position, and they're pushing out to June.
Huh. All right, so coin, interesting about coin. This, just a little technical blurb on it. It goes back, this fib dates back to June 6th with a peak in July. Then you had a consolidative phase, and it consolidated on the 382, which coincided with the 200-day moving average. underneath, giving it some support. It ripped, and it ripped up to an extension, a Fibonacci extension. So is this an appropriate place to short? Well, I tried it up at this first extension and it didn't work. So maybe at the second extension, you get an opportunity to get some short here. Maybe. These names are tricky though. The Bitcoin, I don't understand Bitcoin like a lot of other people understand it. To me, there's no rhyme or reason why this thing fluctuates. The only thing I can do is look at it from a technical standpoint. When you look at it, I don't get it. So I don't trade it. I tried dabbling with coin, didn't work. Step out of the way. Pretty tough to call those ones, I think. But they do look extended.
Some rolling of calls in the firm. AFRM. Looks like a lot of rolling out there this morning.
Jeez, look at that. That's what a monster move that's been.
Yeah, big time squeeze of the firm.
Yep. Zach asking you for IWM lines.
IWM lines?
Yep. He wants you to do some lines with you, Jay.
Yeah. IWM lines. PBE, that's small. PBR, that's an energy name. You got a little put action.
I'm not seeing much to get excited about here this morning. I think your catalyst is tomorrow and Friday. And I think with the way this stuff sets up technically is no coincidence. I think traders are setting themselves up for the ability to be able to be nimble and jump to one side or the other. That's my opinion. So I don't know if today's the day you're going to bank a bunch of money.
You got a little repeat activity in that UPST with a little time. Let's go around March.
Oh, Jesus, look at the squeeze. Look at the squeezes.
Where is this?
Let's see. You were talking about trannies yesterday, weren't you? A couple of days ago? I mean, look at this FedEx. Are you kidding me? Where's DHI? Home builders, trannies, when all of that is going. Like Tesla, if you want to make a case for Tesla long, I mean, you should probably consider some lottos, right? Tesla's been difficult to trade.
Yeah, stuck.
You were talking about IoT the last few days also. That thing is just...
Yeah, that had earnings too. Big move off earnings.
Yeah.
Hood, some Jan buying. Looks like rolling involved. Hood, Jan 11s. So those are right at the money.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we get the Bank of Canada.
You got a few repeat names active. Getting some rolling involved in them.
Weren't you talking about VRT yesterday?
Yeah, VRT has been seeing a lot of action for a while now.
I'm not in any of these. Not in any of these.
Well, these are all underbelly names you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, even when when they all start going, I'm like, all right, I can find one of them to jump onto for a little bit of fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's been better since these Magnificent Seven names have been having a tough time, well, a more difficult time than they've had. some money has found a home in these things. Let's see this one. This one looks like a fairly new name. RPHM. RPHM. That's got a biotech type symbol to it. Let's see what it looks like. RPHM is, survey says, Reneo Pharmaceuticals. See, do I know my tickers or do I know my tickers? RPHM opening December sweep. A little unusual activity there. Another biotech. But another hot group. That VKTX was littered with action off the open. A lot of you got to see that off the open yesterday. Had a strong day, up another 50, 60 cents this morning.
Silvers is telling me just butterfly and chill. I don't think he's wrong. Play the expected moves.
Yeah, the indexes. I can't even rack my brain here on the indexes.
Now I moved away from the indexes. I was not trading them well at all. So I stepped away and I started looking for more individual names, and that wasn't working. So I'm like, all right.
Well, now you guys, it's been your type of names for a while. The more the more active names, the more liquid names. These you got. Now it's trickled down to a lot of squeeze names, a lot of the crap. So that we're at that point now.
We're at the crap phase.
We're at the crap phase. Speaking of that IoT, seeing a little bit more play. Might have, I'm sure they're rolling there too. Let's see. Yeah. We got a couple lines active there, but looks like some of that's closing activity in IoT as well.
Chris is asking me about Crowd. Chris, shut the fuck up about Crowd. Did anybody catch it?
Yeah, Chris.
We bought this thing back in January of 23. We rode leaps on this to freaking like 400% returns. We didn't get the rest of this.
Chris?
Where the hell you been, Chris?
For real.
Are you in it?
Some small tack on there. Yeah, it hasn't really got going yet, Carvana.
Are those 40s? I know. And that's one I was like, I think I can catch this one. And
yeah, it hasn't been bad. It's just stuck there. It hasn't really moved.
I know.
Well, moved, but not Carvana-like.
Skim, you've been in that leap the whole time? You didn't bail when we took profits, and I tapped out when that director took her money and said, I'm done. You've been in there the whole time? Good for you, dude. I mean, that
was Crowd with the director? I remember looking at that.
Yeah. So that was back in, I always try to mark these things. She came in back here in December of 22. She bought 60,000 shares with an average of $97.67 a share. Stock's trading $243.67 now.
Yeah, I remember what you showed me that back then. Jesus. Well timed, Miss Insider. Well timed.
Skim, I kept rolling the whole time. I just have not seen distribution as much. Skim, keep it going. Keep it going. There's no reason you should be up in the 1,000% plus percentage return.
Huntington HBAN seeing the equivalent for capital markets.
At least on that trade. Is that where you're at? I don't know if anybody else stayed in that. Well done, Skim. Well done. Call the Porsche dealer. You should have a very Merry Christmas. 10x on Skim's leap trade on Crowd.
Charged for Russian soldiers with war crimes against an American.
Maybe in little put action.
Yeah, that MDB that had earnings last night, right? And then you had a gap down. They gapped it down to the 21-day EMA and bounced it there. And
Yeah, I was just gonna say they probably buy that right back up. They already did there. Didn't
they
take long, huh?
already bought it right back up to the 5-day and the 8-day.
Let's see, any volume there? I'm sure there's some volume.
Silvers is just talking about how illiquid those options are. And he's right. He's correct. Silvers, you can't catch 100% of the trades. The fact that you got frustrated with a trade and
Yes.
took it off actually makes me feel better. It makes me think that you're not a freaking robot.
AMD saw a little March buying yesterday. Excuse me, call buying, and here you got some. Was that weekly protection?
Or you're frustrated because you closed it. Did you close it early?
Oh, let me check OI changes there.
Like, how do you ride the lightning on a $400 stock through earnings unless you already have cushion? If you don't, you're just freaking hanging it out there in the wind.
Huntington is saying that they're not rushing into M&A.
Dave, when was the last we saw casinos had some action? When?
They had a little bit of action, but no real commitment. Which ones? I don't even remember.
Well, I mean the normal suspects. I'm looking at LVS.
Yeah, I think it was one of them. I think it was LVS had some decent action.
I mean, they're just technically they don't look very good.
Yeah, the other one they were buying was that Macau piece of garbage, MLCO for a squeeze. Mary, Larry, Charlie, Oscar.
I mean, from a technical perspective, maybe that one is a pop, but if it's
that's probably
associated
what
with,
they're probably short hedging there more than anybody buying.
if it's controlled by Beijing, I want no part of it.
Yeah, that's strictly Macau there.
Yeah. So no, thank you.
That's why that stock's in shambles.
NVIDIA about to fill the gap on the daily. So if you decided to short NVIDIA, this is a spot. If you took that off of the open, this is the spot where you would consider taking some profits and or rolling to a more lotto type of strike. If you don't, and they fill the gap, and what's the rule of gaps? 80% of the time gaps fill, and 80% of the time when gaps fill, they reverse direction. It is an 80-20 rule, however. It is a guideline, not a set rule, but we see 80% of the time. Look at that. They filled the gap and they bounced it. I don't know how long it'll last, but if you don't manage your trades in those spots, you hate money.
No change. Rate remains unchanged at 5% as expected. Canadian IBPMI 54.7.
Economy is no longer in excess demand.
Where's my Costco looking here?
Economy is reducing inflationary pressures.
Damn.
The goods and services as PSC.
Microsoft crossing down.
Microsoft, what did you say? Crossing down?
Yeah, I just got a downside alert on Microsoft.
Oh, so the big guys are seeing some selling, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, starting. I mean, I think it's just positioning, though, Jay. I think they're going to take them down to some technical areas just to try and shake some traders out, and then you're going to get a catalyst tomorrow and Friday. So to me, this looks like normal range trading.
Yeah.
Until they get something they can make a declaration about.
With October data coming in toward the lower end of this range, the Bank of Canada says it wants to see further and sustained easing in core inflation and continues to focus on balance of supply and demand in the economy and inflation expectations.
Not the day to be a hero.
And the Bank of Canada say global financial conditions have eased. Oil prices are $10 lower per barrel than the bank had forecasted in October.
What was that noise? Was that an actual typewriter?
Me? I didn't hear anything.
Okay. How much time do you think we need on this CVNA? To me, this thing looks like.
I honestly thought it would have squeezed harder by now.
I know, me too. I was like, well, how come this thing hasn't just ripped? And if you look at where the director put his, this is another interesting side note, right? This started in August. You got insider buying that dates back to there. $116 million went to work at $37.05. You're trading $39.76 right now.
Yeah, pretty much right there.
So SPY got to this little, where did SPX get? I'm keeping it boxed in. They're keeping it boxed in.
Most of the index movement is based off those Magnificent Seven names anyway. You know?
Yep. But I mean, when you get stupid names, and there are a lot of stupid names that are squeezing, like, look at Signet Jewelers. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, meanwhile, we were talking about that name. We love that stock.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best looking action we've seen in the past 2 months.
I know, but it's a jeweler, right? Like,
I know. Well, you know what it is? Some people say it's a hidden play on gold too.
Oh, okay.
Right? The price of gold ripping to new highs. A beneficiary of that. But yes, I mean, you call them stupid. People in my camp call it more of a realistic market. But I think what you're referring to, realistic names, I think SIG was a bad example you gave. You're talking more of the UPSTs, aren't you? And the firm.
Yeah, I am.
Are you talking about names that don't see action often, and you're referring to them
listen, when I say it's stupid, I don't mean it's dumb money. These are legitimate squeezes and legitimate squeeze plays. They're very, very good trades. What I'm saying is the move is, are you kidding me? Like, damn, that's a stupid move. Like, stupid as in stupid good, right? Not like you're an idiot for playing it. It's, hey, how did like, good on you for catching it. But when you see so many names that have been dormant for so long, that's when I start to pay attention to, okay, now is there stupid money coming into Chase that starts saying things like, oh, a firm really is the real deal, and it's back from the dead, and I told you this was a great company, and this is the next best thing. That's when we start paying attention to, hey, we're done, right?
I think it's not as extreme as you're making it. I think SIG is a real deal, and a firm is a real piece of shit. You understand? You're getting a little bit of each.
Fair.
You're getting a little bit of each, which makes it even more confusing, right? Because you're getting a little mixture of quality and crap.
Yeah, here's one that
there's a lot of people in the room who like that stock. That's a biotech. I haven't really followed it, but I know quite a few of you made a score on this thing.
TGTX?
Yeah.
Microsoft Bears. What's are doing okay now? Kelman calling out Rivian. Rivian looking like it wants to pop. Who else called that out? Bullshark called that out, right? A few days ago. And from a technical standpoint, you can see this thing potentially having a squeeze. I don't mind that. Kelman, are you buying that today? Let me look at this TGTX. Sheesh. Yeah, into the gap.
You got a few fans in the room. I remember they made a nice score on this thing last time, back earlier in the year. Look at the move earlier in the year. It went from like $4 to 40 or some shit.
Yeah, like I said, I have no qualms with whoever is taking advantage of these. I just don't want. I'm assuming that most people have a skeptical point of view. Is not to jump into some of these names and think that it, this is the next. It's going to run back to its highs. Like you need a grain of salt with that kind of a move.
Yeah. Here's, speaking of piece of shit, here's another piece of shit seeing a little more action. RKT, Robert Kevin Tom. You got March calls.
Kelman, I have you to thank for dinner last night. By the way, you threw out that you had pizza, and I broke down and I got some Delfina last night.
He didn't have pizza.
He had pizza yesterday, Jay.
He wasn't. That wasn't pizza he was eating, right?
No, it was, he had Round Table, which is very
frozen
suspect.
in his refrigerator.
I question his taste, but
Kelman.
He's in the Rivian December 29th 19s from 84 cents. I don't mind that.
Yeah, is that squeezing? I haven't really looked at that one.
It looks like it wants to. Let me get some RSI and CCI up there. I mean, I don't mind taking a little bit of that in the other account just so it can. And there's CCI. Let's see what's CCI on this too. Get me some commodity channel index up there. See, the only thing I don't like about that on the daily is the RSI and CCI are slightly cooked, but it's in a spot where it could rip. Oh, you rolled the 18s to 19s. Look at you. Look at you being a trader. Good job, Kelman.
So we got the anti-VIX swinging all the way to the other side now. Not a problem yet, but if the rally extends, could be a problem today.
Are there any active lines on this Rivian, Jay?
Rivian, yeah, it's been really active, but let me see. I didn't see any sweeps, but I'm sure there's volume there. Yeah, you got volume all over the place over there.
Okay.
Financial ALLY, speaking to the Goldman Conference, CFO saying that they expect roughly flat balance sheet ahead. It says an auto lending pullback is favorable for the company. Alpha Lima Lima Yankee.
HCC, I think that's a copper play. I got the wrong symbol up here. Hold on. Yep, that's copper. Oh, coal. Harry, Charlie, seeing a little small action. That's a copper name, HCC. A coal name. I keep saying it. It's a coal name, not a copper name. Big difference.
For Walmart Whiskey Michael Tango, they're presenting later today at the Morgan Stanley conference. CNBC running a taped interview with the CEO saying that customers are price sensitive right now and they're seeing traffic growth in store and a pickup in delivery.
A lot of conferences going on.
Yeah, wasn't AMD doing something?
I think AMD, I saw a symbol where, I don't know what day, but I saw AMD on the list somewhere. Talking about one of their chips or some shit like that. Oh, you got that Goldman Banking Conference. I think today's the second day of that.
Banking conference. What a snooze fest.
Yeah, not much sizzle coming out of there, right?
Nope.
Get excited about that.
Just a bunch of talk about fucking private jets and homes in Aspen.
And how they loaded up on treasuries at zero rates and blew the bank up.
50% retrace of the move to 1989. So Kelman, you see this little fib I threw up there? So from a squeeze standpoint, you know, you break this 1989, it's probably another good spot to consider a roll. Also lines up with an area where it's had trouble getting through before, and another area where it acted once as support. Take a look at the other fib lines. It has gotten also to this 24.5. That would be that'd be a nice squeeze. You could get that kind of a squeeze.
Our CEO saying that general merchandise pricing is down roughly 5% on a year-over-year basis.
Oh, I got this screen up. I forgot. I didn't have the other screen up. Citigroup, there's some flow there. So it looks like some rolling, though, involved, obviously. That's up again nice today, too, by the way. Citi, the rally continues.
$25 is an important price point.
All right, I'm playing along on this Rivian. I just got a little 10-lot feeler in the other account. If it gets big, maybe there's something to it. But if I'm looking left, I'm kind of expecting this thing to kind of fade out here. So I gave it some time. I took the same expo that Kelman's in the December 29. And if it comes back into this little technical zone, which is the 50 and the 200-day moving average, I'll consider adding as long as it holds up there. But this thing, one of these days, is either just going to friggin' pop and rip, or it's just going to be a piece of shit and flatline.
Yeah, it's not the worst spot at all there.
No, it's not bad.
Roll. Yep, roll. Jan 32.5, and they're going into 35. Has that been rallying? Oh, you're getting a nice push today. Yeah, decent move. Truist, TFC. They were buying blood there a couple of months back after a ton of put buying. Now you got a size roll.
Chris is saying, look at China names today, folks. Chris, you understand.
Oh, here you go now.
Here you go, right?
He knows how to get you going anyway, I think. That's his goal for the day.
Well, when he talks about these, I'm like, dude, you see the technicals, and you know that they're run by a bunch of fucking Ponzi scheme carnival motherfuckers. You know, if you put your money in China, you deserve to lose it. You hate money if you put.
Just yesterday, he told me he's never trading Baba ever again in his life.
He doesn't mean it. I called the trade today for a move. Okay, that's going to get you muted.
Carnival.
I
Cruise
told
Line.
you. I told you. Get out of here with the I told yous.
Walmart saying they're growing market share across categories.
You got a little more buying in that Doku. Oh, they report, I think. Yeah, Doku earnings tomorrow. Seeing a little more flow. DOCU. Another squeeze name. Your Rivian seeing some small flow as well. Jans.
I just set alerts on that thing and forget it.
The
I don't want to look at
airline.
it. I don't want to look at it unless it hits one of those levels that I'm talking about. Other than that, I'm not going to sit there and knit sweaters over Rivian. It's either going to go or it's not.
The airlines are hot today, huh?
Gross.
Oh, maybe because oil's coming in.
You saw Hawaiian Airlines was bought by Alaska.
Yeah, I saw that.
Another great airline ruined by Alaska Airlines.
Hawaiian Airline.
You remember how amazing Virgin Airlines was to fly? That was like the greatest airline. And then Alaska came in and freaking peed on the campfire.
Yeah, airlines, they find a way to ruin anything that's good.
Walmart CEO saying that they're not bracing for a recession currently.
Heavily shorted Open, seeing some more play. OPEN.
All right, so Skim. I'm curious to know, Skim, you've been in crowd this whole time. Have you also been in Costco? Anybody who's in Costco longer term, you need to start, if you haven't rolled, look at how this thing is holding. It's broken this little area of consolidation. It really was never even consolidation, but it's broken through. So you have to start considering in this area rolling. And if we get any more push out of this thing, I'm going to start considering rolling. I'd like to do it above 610. And then on the Amazon, every time it's gotten up here into this little zone, it has faded. So if you guys are long the Amazon, this 148 strike is a good strike to write on days that it pops.
150,000 barrels per day, up 50,000 BPD from this year for Exxon.
That's the only bet there, I think so. So you got some unusual buying in this DLB. That's post earnings. Some time there, June's.
Dolby.
And that's decent size.
All right, Pat, shut up. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes left on the public broadcast. As Lucci likes to say, let's do a little walk around the club. See the
inventory data, crude expected minus 1 million barrels, gasoline.
few times that I walk through
Inflation expected to rise.
the public chat here. So what are you guys looking at over here? You got, obviously, we've seen S. We called out that S. Jay called that S yesterday. That thing has got an amazing squeeze pop to it. So you had the earnings and you should be taking some profits or rolling up. Jay, you just called out that Dolby.
Dolby, yeah. Well, you know that name?
Well, I mean, I know who they are, right? I know who they are.
Wait, is that Dolby who I think Dolby, or?
Dolby Labs is Dolby Sound.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yep. And then you got some guys calling out Q calls. Like I said, this is not. I mean, this is a little consolidative phase, and you're looking at, in my opinion, an area that traders are bringing the indices to on purpose, and they're doing it so that they can be ready to react to what catalyst information we get tomorrow and Friday. So I think tomorrow and Friday are going to be your volume days. And if you're making a call here today, it's more of a coin toss. So just watch your trades, manage your trades.
Your back.
Watch your back. Watch your back. And then, guys, also remember, you can join us on a trial for 2 weeks and have access to the Steam Room. So after we do this, we carry on in the Steam Room for $7.99, and they'll post a link, and you can come check us out and see if we're worthy of your time. It's worth it just to listen to Jesus run his mouth all day.
Just to hear me type is worth
Just to hear you type. Just to hear Jules sound the alarm when somebody suspicious.
What about Daisy snoring? It's not worth that.
No, Duke's snore is worth the price, but Jules getting upset about a sketchy bag blowing across the front yard is always good for a laugh. And somebody's asking me about what are your thoughts on Costco rotisserie chicken? I've never had Costco.
Oh, I had that. It's not bad. I tasted that.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, pretty good.
I don't eat I haven't had the Costco. I haven't had any of the food. What is the other one? There's some kind of casserole that people get that they love. I don't know what it's called, but there's like some chicken casserole thing. I don't know. One of my kids talks about it, and I'm like, I'm not eating that. I'm like, you got to be high when you eat that? He's like, yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah, the rotisserie chicken was surprisingly good. I'm not a big chicken guy either, but it was good. As good as chicken's gonna be, you know.
It's true. Take Profits calling out Torpedo. Who's the man? Is Torpedo your only male dog?
No, I got including me with 4 male dogs, including myself. 3 dogs, 3 males. Torpedo, Merlin, and who's the other one? Wait, I'm missing someone. Oh, Google, the newer edition.
Do you call Merlin the Wiz?
Merlin's one of the few dogs that we've kept. I never changed his name. He kept the name they gave him. He came with. He's a good looking dog.
You don't call him Wiz for short?
Attractive women. He's they were breeding him when we got him. He's got one blue eye that really stands out. He's a Pomeranian. I'll take a picture. Really good looking, but he's going bald. The poor bastard. You know that breed. Sometimes they go bald, and
we all some of us have to fight that off.
That's what I try to explain to him.
Roblox with a couple of sweeps there.
March way out of the money.
Way out of the money. 3 15.55s.
Maybe they're rolling those. Let's see.
Silver's calling out upper. Yeah, Silver's it did.
So Roblox, they're closing Jan 45s and they're pushing them out. Well, they're closing Jan 35 and 45 calls and pushing them out to March 55s. Looks like they're pocketing some money on the deal as well. Rolling out and up in Roblox.
Silver's calling out SPX pinged the upper expected move, so he shorted that. But if I look at SPX, I mean, it's the similar thought process. It's technically it's looking good. They're bringing it back down into an area where they can make some moves on it pending catalyst event. So if you're day trading this stuff, you got to know what's coming.
It's a lot of rolling today. A lot of rolling.
Yeah, this Microsoft is selling off nice now.
Microsoft, the big guys, right?
Yeah.
I haven't really seen any flow. Saw a little Tesla put action come in.
Yeah, I saw that too. So now
But
you're back
nothing,
down on this Microsoft. You're back down to the VWAP from not yesterday, but the day before. So that's, interesting of note. This one this anchor needs to go away. That was marking the low. And this is kind of what I was talking about this morning on this Microsoft was, hey, you're kind of at the 5-day and the 8-day moving average. The 5-day is declining, the 8-day is declining. They brought it to that area and they chopped it around a little bit and then they sold this thing off. In today's VWAP, if you were shorting, today's VWAP would have kept you in this trade until you finally got this nice flush. And all the way down to 2 days ago VWAP, that's a great exit. That's a great place to consider an exit.
The Russell outperforming again today. Well, not again today. Yesterday flip-flopped a little bit for the day, and now back the other way again. Russell up 1%, actually, over 1%. What else we got here? Rivian, it looks like Lottos, weekly 20s, cheapies.
Kelman, was that you?
Kelman.
conference.
Kelman. The banks, they're holding, right? The banks? Yeah, they look okay. KBE up 2.5%.
Banks still look decent this morning.
RKT, some more RKT spec action, a little more Rivian spec action. These are cheapies coming in. Rivian, what they pay, 12 cents? RKT, they're paying 40 cents for those March calls. RKT is a financial. It's just a more speculative one.
Is it RKT Rocket? Isn't it Rocket Financial?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was huge insider buying in this thing, Rocket, wasn't there? If I remember correctly, there was huge insider buying in this thing.
Let me take a look.
And the stock has held those lows. It just hasn't really gone anywhere. I could be wrong though. I think it was
big. Yeah. So, from a value, so you do have a lot of insider buying. However, it's an inexpensive stock, and dollar-wise, not a lot going in. Share-wise, a lot was bought up.
I got
by the directors and the C-suite.
Yep, because it's cheap stock, right? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But remember, there are hundreds of reasons why an insider would sell. There's only one reason that they buy.
Yeah, I like, I don't follow, insiders, because in bull markets, usually they're selling as opposed to buying and only the crap's getting bought. But in bear markets, I like to follow insiders, see what they're doing.
I mean, to these guys' point, it's more, they're mortgages. Mortgages are boom bust, right? So.
RKT, you mean? They're strictly mortgages? Yeah, remember, I think it's a Kathy Wood play. It's supposed to change the mortgage business, wasn't it?
And I think real estate in general, right? Are they part of that move to try and force realtors or the real estate market to move away from having up to 6% commissions on the sale of a home? Like where I live, real estate agents getting 3% on each side of the transaction is that shit adds up.
Oh, so they cut out that fat. In other words, that's what they cut out the commission.
I don't know if they're cutting it out, but it's they're trying to. I think that's part of. I don't know if it's the catalyst. I know there are others out there trying to put pressure on that commission and on that commission amount.
And one of those names, it was either Lemonade, I think, is insurance. One of it was they come up with a credit score a different way, something like that for loans, a different way of something to that effect. I don't know if it's Rocket or Lemonade, but that was the sizzle behind.
All right, guys, look at this. Microsoft bounced right off of that VWAP from a couple of days ago. This is why you manage your trade. That is why you manage your trade. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up in the public sector. Come join us over in the Steam Room, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Maybe Lucci will be done cupcaking tomorrow, and he'll be here trading with us. We'll see.
He's probably Bitcoin trying to finagle some shit, I'm sure. What Bitcoin's ripping.
All right, y'all. Have a great day. Everybody. Peace.
Now you got some more